So our starting point is here. It's all about the DP William Ruto, who has been featuring on the main headlines of the dailies on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, today on Tuesday, 4 days. And the Star equally got to the same story, similar with regards to the divisions in cabinet on the ministers who are allied to the president, others to the DP William Ruto. And this, of course, pertains the claim of public resources with regards to the divisions in the ruling Jubilee Party. This we have up on here, Madam Director, and as members of Parliament allied to the DP William Ruto call for restraint. He is staying in the game politically, saying he's a key stakeholder in the ruling Jubilee Party, while the ODM members of Parliament and ruling Jubilee members, among them, that is Minor Commander nominated, are calling on the DP William Ruto to resign. In the effect, he feels the political room no longer is hospitable for him politically. Fred Asira, anti-corruption activist, joins me here this morning alongside Cyrus Litswa. Good morning. I do appreciate your time. Thank you for coming. I see Victor being mic'd up. He will be here shortly. But first, before we get to the nitty-gritty details of the program here, in effect to that headline, we have a bite from a presser yesterday issued in Parliament by Minor Commander and Junet Mohammed of ODM. This is what they had to say in Bunge.
Kwa hivyo tunamuuliza Deputy President wetu kwa heshima, wewe umeshaguliwa kuwa msaidizi wa rais wetu. Tafadhali mpe heshima yake. Huyu wetu hata amejifanya sasa hata kama president hakuna. Huyu ni kama sasa ndio president, and we hukuchaguliwa president. We ngoja wakati wako uchaguliwe president. Ukishaguliwa president ni kama Mungu atakubali, lakini kwa maoni ya Minor Commander ni ya kwamba Mungu akujalie usije ukawa president wa nchi yetu.
It is clear that the DP is hiding behind Prime Minister Raila Odinga and the BBI to fight the president and those public officers the president has entrusted with the power of helping him run the government. Ruto should have the courage to face the president instead of hiding behind ODM.
Victor Menendez is equally on set. Thank you. Good morning, gentlemen. I do appreciate your time. Let me start with the presser in effect to what was yesterday issued by the members of Parliament who are ODM members and others from the ruling Jubilee Party who issued the presser in Parliament yesterday. Fred Asira, if I may come to you, when you look at the whole essence of the BBI with regards to the effect of what happened in Kisii on Friday last week, is it perhaps the convoluted tech that perhaps might end the political stalemates in the country and equally end or free Kenya from the shackles of political violence that equally was present in every electoral cycle since 2007?
Yeah, but of course that is the objective of Building Bridges initiative. The objective, one of the major objectives of the Building Bridges initiative is to ensure that we do not experience divisive politics in a cycle of every 5 years. And if you witnessed what happened in Kisii on Friday, and also you observe what will happen in Buhungu on Saturday,
18th, yes.
On 18th, that's on Saturday, you will realize that there is a large number of people, especially legislators, who want this thing to work. Mm-hmm. Whereas we have a small section of legislators, especially the ones who are allied to the deputy president, who think that the entire thing is about succession politics of 2022. Most Kenyans, especially our leaders from different quarters, have realized the urgency with which we need to tackle divisive politics, especially since we are approaching 2022
yes.
Very fast. Yeah? So we do not want a scenario where after 2022 elections we are going to experience the same problems that we did experience in 2017, more so to speak. So yes, I think if handled well and in the manner that it ought to be handled, without other politicians just hammering the wrong sides of BBI is a good thing.
Okay, Cyrus, is it politicization or marketing, more or less, or popularization of the BBI here? Because the allies of the DP and he himself said there was no need for the popularization or marketing of a document that has no opposition so far in regard to what happened in Kisii County on Friday.
I can say it's all about popularizing BBI, first of all. Why popularizing BBI? Because when the BBI was launched, the main objective of the BBI is to bring together the people of Kenya, uniting communities. And it is evident that we've seen people who were at Kisii were people from different regions. We saw Uhuru there, we saw people from Charity Gilu, we saw Kinakivuta Kibwana, and others. So this one signifies the unity of purpose that is being called for. And it is also in one or the other popularizing when you say marketing, is what I can say is wrong thing, because you're not selling it. It's not something that you're selling, but you're popularizing it for people now to get attached to it, for people now to start moving with it, for people to start realizing that we need to unite. There is a reason that we need to come together as a country and as a people, so that we may be able to achieve one or two things in the country. Because in Kenya, it is always a political cycle. You can't tell whether we are going to elections tomorrow or no. You see, in Tanzania, they are going to have elections
in 2020,
this year. Uganda are going to have elections next year. Now, Kenya, we are set to have elections 2022. But you may think we are going to have elections tomorrow, because of the heated campaigns that are there. And the heated campaigns were started by the Deputy President himself when he came out defending. And I remember one day when he was asked why is so much of campaign, and he said because he's there to inherit the president, and the president they want to work, then he's free to do the campaigns. Something that didn't argue well with most of the Kenyans and most of the political class people. So the BBI itself, as we look also the way it's being charted or being championed, it's a good cause. Even I saw the Bungoma meeting when the governors met in Bungoma and other MPs. You saw every member of parliament, every MCA were there charting forward the BBI, popularizing BBI to the people and telling people this is what we need, this is what we are looking for, this is what we believe it will heal or it will bring reprieve to our ailing economy of the sugar and agriculture and other things. I listen to them keenly and I don't see anything bad in popularizing the BBI.
Well, I think in acknowledgement, it's logical that this is meant to end the uncertainties after every election. That's what the two gentlemen literally were at the doorsteps of Harambee House in 2018. But ever since then, politics has underpinned the process, and we still are seeing a sort of classical political adventures of some who might want to hijack that particular process. So what is the point of where is the point with which we can wrap this particular document and its entire intent in immunity and cushion it from political hijacking?
When you talk of political hijacking, is that a perception that some people believe that the ODM or the people fronting the BBI, because I cannot term it as ODM per se, because when you look at the Bungoma meeting, I saw Wangamati, I saw Wamnyinyi, I saw Eseli. These are Ford Kenya people. Yes. They're not ODM. And when they rose to speak about unity. They rose to speak about that we want to get this so that we can have this. But when the section of other people from the government come and oppose of what is going on, now we look at, are they the ones who want to hijack it? Because from
you mean the allies of the DP?
Yes, because from inception, when BBI was being talked about, they were that this is why do we need to have BBI? That was the question they used to raise. Why do we need to have BBI at the moment? Do we need it? No. But once it was launched at Bomas, they all agreed to it and agreed to it and everything that was in it. Okay? Now, without knowing how it is going, it's like we can say they are the people who wanted to hijack the process. They hijack the opportunities that they had already seen in the report. Something that has not been fully implemented, but you've already seen a loophole and say, now this is where our benefits are. And that's why even to some extent, the deputy president in Uasin Gishu, when he was doing
over the weekend,
not the church, the kuku thing.
The auctioning.
The auctioning of the kuku thing. He said it, that it's not a must that I be the president. If they are going to, if people will die because I want to be the president, then let it be. Why did he say that? He said it because he saw there's a position of a prime minister. Then I can learn for a prime minister. If they are saying that a majority members of parliament will elect or will nominate a PM, then it can also be good to me. I still remain powerful. So those are some of the things that he saw in the paper, and he never envisioned whatever is happening right now.
Okay, that's in line with what will happen equally or will take effect in March 2020. That is in about 2 months' time when the Jubilee Party will hold its primaries.
But it won't hold the primaries.
Okay.
The primaries are not going to be there.
Well,
believe me or not.
Subject to National Executive Council decision on to when that will happen. More or less.
We shall be here discussing the same.
Okay, no problem. We have no.
I'm not a member of Jubilee, but from where as things stand, there's already a rift in Jubilee.
Okay, we'll
come to an election.
Yes. We'll come to that because there's a lot that is underneath it, the echo chamber of concerns. Victor Marandi, if I may come to you. Well, the president, the opposition chief, praised globally for the coming together because there are countries that are dying to achieve the sort of such particular unity of political fools coming together for the sake of the nation. But then again, we had a similar move, a similar committee in 2006, the Committee of Eminent Persons, which equally detailed a report in 2006. A year later, we were at the heart of the post-election skirmishes and the ugly spectre that engulfed the country. How do we make and how do the two gentlemen focus in ensuring that this BBI, this handshake, the coming together, is not another false start yet political in the country?
Now, thank you, Ayub, and Happy New Year. And Happy New Year to you and our guests and viewers. First of all, we really need not to repeat the mistakes of the past, because we've walked a long journey, and we understand the journey. And part of the corrections that we were doing were in the Constitution 2010. You know, when you talk about the committee of experts that were there, in the eminent persons in 2006, the eminent persons did not do a public participation. That is part of what we enshrined in the new Constitution 2010. That for everything to be done that involves the people of Kenya, then there must be public participation. And then in the preamble of that same constitution, we documented that supreme power lies with the people of Kenya. And when you are very keen, those are the only people who have been given power. In the whole constitution, be it the president, he has no powers. He acts on authority of his office. The only people with the power are the people of Kenya. And that is why when someone says that this process should not involve the people of Kenya and that no one is opposing the process, yes, we are comfortable, no one is opposing the process. But then within the framings of the Constitution of Kenya, for us to invoke particular articles in this Constitution and change them, we have to involve them. Even just a civic education on the people of Kenya is very important and necessary. So I think, and I believe, that we must be allowed to speak to the people of Kenya, let them understand this document, let them give recommendations to this document, and if they want it, let them support it. But from where we sit and where we read it, these are recommendations that the 14-member team got from the people of Kenya. However much it was a select group of Kenyans, we got it from them. But then, when devolution was brought in this country, there were the introduction of village councils to ensure that public participation was always done. And when you realized, when we were in Kisii, there were representatives from each and every particular ward of the 6 counties of the Nyanza region. So then these were similar to the village councils that we anticipated in the new constitution. So really, we really want to get the view of everyone in this country. We really want Kenyans to participate. We really want Kenyans to speak. And that is what we said when we launched this document. When the president allowed everyone to read it, why would someone want to shoot before the gun? Why would someone tell us not to read it and that no one is opposing it? We haven't said anyone is opposing the document.
Okay, so far the provisions of the documents were not made available to the Kenyan people by the task force.
They weren't made available, but then we are making ways of getting the documents. And I will tell you ways in which the documents will reach the people. One, we have ward representatives who are members of particular parties who are supporting this document. Now, right now, we are in a new year, and we have members of parliament awarding bursaries. So we are making it a statute of each and every particular party and party member who supports this document, that if you are a member, if you are an MCA, if you are a member of parliament and you support this document, then from your offices, when you are awarding bursary, for example, or when people visit, you need to make available copies. And we've spoken and communicated this to our members. Now, we are ensuring that through the sensitization process and working the nation, then everyone gets to see the document.
Okay.
So in the next 3 months, every Kenyan would have been able, would have read the document,
all right,
would have participated, and would have given their views. So I really want to advise those who think that we are not on the right path to watch this space. And the deputy president made a comment last week, and I really don't understand whether he's in government or he's not in government right now, because he spoke in two dimensions that mean that he is on both sides of the coin. When he started, he said that he doesn't understand why ODM are misusing public resources to run around these documents in the country. You know, ODM has no capacity to misuse public resources, in a government where he's the deputy president. So he's really trying to tell us that he's not in that government, and he's the opposition to that government.
Well,
that is one.
By law, he is. But of course, there are questions onto how he can question that when he is the deputy president.
Ayub, you know, these guys ran on a ticket. If Ruto wants to question Uhuru, he must not go to public rallies. He can even form a small WhatsApp group and add Kinywa and Gitau and Uhuru there, and then question them in that WhatsApp group. I think that would make more sense.
Well, I think
then, as he concludes, he talks about a government that he is in a government that respects the rule of law and obeys court orders. Then, which side is he in?
Well, I think there seems to be the two characters of the coin here. The flip end of the DP, William Ruto, at some point termed the people of Nyanza as militia, which is unfortunate on an international TV. And then today he says it must obey court orders. Unfortunately, he was at the brink of, among those who castigated the Supreme Court and failed to respect its authority after the nullification of the president's re-election. But equally, as you mentioned that, your party, even before the Kisi gathering or the come together of the BBI meeting, which of course sourced out representatives from across the country, equally has said that there must be a referendum before June. And Senator James Orengo, who said that alongside Kisi Senator James Orengo Monday last week. But that seems impossible until November, isn't it, for that to take effect? Because you still want some popularization time for people to read, to understand the context, and then you do some form of civic education for them to come into terms or understand better the content of the report in the building bridges.
We're almost 6 months into June. We're exactly almost 6 months to June, because June ends on 30th. And 6 months literally is around 180 days. Now, after the formation of the committee of experts, an election on a bill can take 90 days. So then that is 3 months.
3 months.
Would we really take 3 months popularizing this document again? Those are 120 days.
How about, because the center point here, the centerpiece here, the pivotal point is the referendum aspect. And you need a collection of 1 million signatures. IEBC verifies, takes it to the counties, approved or rejected, come to the bicameral parliament. And in this timeline, which seems constricted, do you feel not comfortable that it might not effect until November 2020?
It is possible.
It's possible?
It's possible.
And you still are very much focused on the referendum aspect of it?
Definitely. There are clauses that touch on that are attached in the Constitution that require the people of Kenya to intervene.
Which if
in a
amended,
referendum.
it means it needs popular
Yeah.
voice. Okay. In effect to that, let me just get the cartoon edition of the Daily Nation here. Madam, can I have that up on here? It's the cartoon edition of the Daily Nation illustrated on the Daily Nation cartoon page. And there we go. It's the DP William Ruto and the opposition chief Raila Odinga, who all are very much interested in the room that is locked up. And in the room, the COTU Secretary General Francis Atwoli and the ANC party leader, that is Musalia Mudavadi. However, though, they're trying to sneak the BBI document beneath the door, and they are not doing it in the honorable way. It's more or less a depiction of the quest for the vote-rich region and who politically will control that particular region. Coming back, Fred, I said, if I may come to you. You earlier on mentioned the forthcoming 18th of January 2020, Bohungu Stadium, a similar scenario of what happened in Kisii County. Do you think then that this will particularly materialize in the sense that we seem to be having divisions from members of parliament in the region who are allied, some to the DP William Ruto, some have their own quest for the region in 2022, and the ODM leader Raila Odinga, who has a political grip firmly on the region. So how do you mathematically do the political arithmetics here in terms of the Western Kenya region? Okay,
before I come to that, I want to give a small rejoinder into what you were discussing earlier. You see, there is this narrative that has been advanced by the Office of the Deputy President and his team that everyone is in agreement to the BBI.
And he himself said that.
He himself said that. But actually that's not the reality. We all know there are people who are opposing the BBI, and there are quite a number of them. Also, when he says everyone is in agreement with the BBI, probably he's speaking about the political class, but not the people of Kenya. And as my friend Marende has said, it is the people of Kenya who has the final say. So whether the political class agree, but the people of Kenya have their differences, the people of Kenya must be involved so that we know where do the people of Kenya stand. That one is what I wanted to clear. Now, when you go to the politics of the Western region, Western region, I will tell you as a matter of fact, that it is a political bloc that has always been behind the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. And that any other perception that has been created, especially in 2017, that there was an insurgence from the Jubilee Party, was quashed by the Supreme Court when the elections were nullified. So there is nobody who can come here and start telling us that they are the kingpin of the Western region if they do not come through the person who the people of the Western region has always given the mandate. And I want to tell you that going on 18th, as you alluded to, on 18th of this month, the people of Western region will speak in volumes, and the volumes will resound across the nation for everybody to understand that the people of Western region are not a people that can, they are, like Mutai Nguni says in one of his many, in fifth estate, that a Kikuyu politician cannot be bought.
And that's what Uhuru said in Kisii.
That's what she repeated.
You can only rent.
You can only rent one. I can also tell you for a fact that Western region members of parliament can only be rented. So whoever is lying to themselves that the numbers that they perceive to have will actually transform into anything are lying to themselves.
Okay, but Fred, to just pick up on that, because there seems to be some form of what will determine the political outcome in that region. In 2017, we had some Jubilee members of parliament who were elected in Western Kenya, despite Raila Odinga having a control politically over the region. Could this be the advancement point of anyone who wants to perhaps gain some form of support from the region? And how will this alter, perhaps, or sort of lessen the Odinga grip on the Western Kenya politics because of what some say as democracy of the vote-rich region, some choosing to or opting to go otherwise and not Odinga all the time?
Of course, not everybody will align to the same school of thought. There must be dissent, and that is what democracy is all about. But the dissent is minimal. That is what I was saying.
I can tell you something. You know, there is this perception that Western region voted for Jubilee. Yet some members of parliament were elected on Jubilee ticket. This illusion was clarified by the Supreme Court when the issue about the presidential election came. You know, there is no way in which you can tell us that someone won. Yet we know there are MPs who came courtesy of the 54%. So really, I really doubt if these MPs are legally in parliament. But that legality can now not be questioned because we accepted that they are in parliament.
They're legally in parliament, but they're not democratically in parliament.
Okay.
No,
Not
those
by,
guys are legally in
not
parliament.
by the will of people.
Yeah,
Not
those
by
guys
the
are
will of
illegally in parliament.
Yeah. What I would say especially is that if you look at the Western region does not have an, okay, in our politics are ethnicized. Mm-hmm. We do not have an ethnic leader from the Western region who can call the shots. Apart from now, Papa Atwoli, who is coming up and trying to marshal his people around himself and trying to direct them. You look at any other politician, Musalia Mudavadi of ANC, he does not have a grip of even his own constituency or county to speak. So you find that there is only one person, and I'm not saying entirely, that can come to Western region and everybody listens to them. So it is still not a place where we can say that it's a free-for-all. They have their choice already, but anybody is welcome to come and sell their ideologies. So what I am looking at is what is going to transpire on the 18th. How are the people going to respond? Because we have had a quota of politicians who are telling Western Kenya legislators to boycott or not to attend the BBI on the 18th, or to attend a parallel meeting that is being organized somewhere, and such kind of things. So whatever is going to happen on the 18th is going to inform us on the way going forward whether this illusion that Western region is actually divided is a reality or a fallacy.
Well, divided democratically because they voted.
Democratically,
Democratically,
yes.
Yes. Yes, Cyrus, if I may come to you. Musalia Mudavadi seems to be the self-positioned regional leader at the moment. He has some presidential ambitions, but he came way behind Odinga in 2013 in the presidential election. And this is a region that largely voted along different lines when it comes to both the political denomination and equally the ethnic lines. Who do you think then can pull down, can perhaps offer the political parachute here for Western Kenya from the cloud of confusion?
Western Kenya, and that's my region where I belong, I can tell you for free, when Western Kenya would vote as a bloc, I think that is it's a day that it will be a surprise for every Kenyan.
Use the joining word if.
Yes.
Because when seems so definite, I doubt if it will happen.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. It can never happen. It can never happen. Bearing in mind, people of Western Kenya believe in different ideologies. For example, when you go to Bungoma, now that's my home county, where I come from, we have members of parliament, we have members of county assembly. County assembly itself does not have full house of Ford Kenya as it speaks, no. It has other members, like township where I come from is ODM, and also my neighboring ward is also ODM. And some few words.
The Senator is equal Ford Kenya.
Senator is Ford Kenya, yes. Governor is Ford Kenya. Wangamati is Ford Kenya. Even the women rep. Now, when you go to now the MP positions, that's where now we come out, we have another divide, where we have Jubilee and Ford Kenya, then ANC. And ODM is locked out. We don't have a legislator of ODM in Bungoma County as we speak. So when it comes to decision making on election, Western Kenya are good listeners. They listen to everybody who comes. They give an ear to everyone who comes. But when it comes to decision making, now they analyze what they've had and they make a decision. Now, to have a kingpin in our region is something that we are not even looking for. Because one, we shall become political slaves of an individual, something that we don't want. And that's why Mudavadi cannot become, is not a spokesman of the Luya, as he said. He's only a spokesman of Watoli when he instilled him in Buhungu the other time. And that's why there are those differences between him and Atoli, because he cannot dance to the tune of Atoli at the moment. Now, Wetangula is just a person on his own. He's a defiant person on his own. Okay? Now, we talk of Atoli himself. He himself, yes, he's respected for the virtue He's the Kotu Secretary General. He's respected on that virtue. And he's listened to because every Kenyan listened to him, not because he has a voice to talk to the people. And in most cases, if he feels or if people feel that he is the voice, then if he can try the political arena, then it can determine whether he has a voice or he doesn't have a voice. But at the moment as we stand, Western Kenya will never have a kingpin. Okay. And we are not looking at having a kingpin.
In short, Raila Odinga has been the gluing factor in the Mulembe nation. Do you think that will be affected in 2022?
Being affected
despite the forays made by the DP in terms of hosting delegations, is Ugoye and Karen Home and the whole host of members of parliament who support the DP.
For DP, you cannot say that he'll get the support he desires to get from the Western region. No, that one count it out. Because one, that is the region DP went and talked of tumetenga. Na hiyo yote, that one cannot guarantee him to have a vote in the Western region. He can only maybe have 10% or a minimum of or a maximum of 20% to that effect. But the Western region still subscribes to Raila Odinga ideology. I can tell you that for free. They still believe in him. They still have that hope in him. They still believe that when they work together, okay, they can still spearhead a goal or they can achieve one or two things. Because at the end of the day, we are all from the Western region, okay? And we subscribe to the same ideology.
Okay.
Yes.
Victor, if I may come to you then, away from Kisii, if Bokungu turns out to be as successful, in inverted commas, as was the case in Kisii County with Raila Odinga and the whole host of the leaders we see accompany him, does it perhaps mean, or is it, or will be an illustration of a support of a two locked up region for him if he used to go for the presidency in 2022?
Let me clear this first. We are not talking about 2022 through the BBI. So I would really wish not to clarify whether a successful event in Kisii and Buhungu on Saturday will guarantee success in the 2022 race.
I say if, in the event he contests.
No, at the moment we are still looking at issues that pertain Kenyans, to deal with hunger, to deal with issues of malnutrition,
insecurity.
So
which were never mentioned in the Kisii gathering, isn't it? It was all political, to be fair.
They were. Let me tell you why it is perceived that the BBI document is really political. You know, this is a political document. And for the very first time, we are not going for recommendations like the Kriegler report, Ndungu report. We decided that these are political problems and that political players are the persons to get us out of what they got us into. So then the two main political protagonists came together, agreed, and designed a way forward from where we left it at 1965, okay, when Jaramogi Oginga Odinga and Mzee Jomo Kenyatta parted ways. But then we are having a pupil in a class who fails a mathematics test, then blames the CRE teacher and tells the CRE teacher, you make me fail mathematics.
Who is that political people?
Huh?
Who is that political?
The deputy president. He blames Raila Odinga every single day. For his,
and that's what his member of parliament was asking
you can't have a pupil in class failing mathematics and blaming the Kiswahili teacher, for example. The two do not correlate. So I really think it's time he faces his boss, his senior in government, and asks him the hard questions. For now, the BBI document, according to us, is a unifying document for Kenyans, and we really want Kenyans to understand that this is the document that will bring them together. And my brother said something here, that Atwoli, everyone in the country listens to Atwoli. Then at the same time, he is saying that Luyas do not listen to him, so it means Luyas are not Kenyans. And for your information, Cyrus, Luya has had two kingpins in this current era. Yes. We had Masinde Muliro, who was so strong and held grip of that nation properly. Then and Wamalwa Kijana was a man to watch. Had he been alive, I think Wamalwa would have been president of this country a long time ago. And for your information, I really love Luyas because there is that relationship that they enjoy. And that is why we call Mashemeji. You know, it's not Mashemeji because tumeoa huko. No, no, no. You know, when you read anthropology properly and the history of the people of Kenya and the history of of man, then you realize that there are those divisions. For example, the people of Sakwa in Nyanza, for example, and in Bondo and in Wendo, you realize that the same Sakwa is the king of Sakwa, who was in Western region in Kakamega. And that is the Sakwa who sired and gave birth this side and the other side. When we have Nabongo, Nabongo was a king who married from the Luo land and went and this Luo woman gave birth to beautiful young Luo leaders up there. So there is that co-joining, and it is a joining by blood, by thought, and by ideology. So I really don't believe that somebody is going to pose a threat on Saturday. Saturday we're going to show them that sisi ndio ndume pale bado.
Okay,
I want to just
respond to that because there is a cartoon in the last minutes of the program.
I want to state on something. When we talk of politics of 2022, we cannot run away from it on the BBI. Because one, I want to pick on few people. One, the governor.
Yes.
Was it Rasanga?
No, Rasanga is a madman. Don't talk about Rasanga.
No, well, he's a governor.
He's a governor. I'm talking about a governor. And then I want also to look at the Matiang'i statement, which he issued.
With no mention of the DP.
Yes. Matiang'i said, Wando wakisi, kama ni uongozi, ndio hii uongozi tuko nayo hapa. Na ile mambo mengine yote tusidanganye nayo. Hapa ndo tutakaa na mambo yetu itakuwa nini? Sawa sawa. Rasanga comes and tells Oparanya, Chair, you know we are finishing our term.
Yes.
And when you are fronting this thing, you should front our own ideas. And the idea they are talking about is the retire system. The retire system, whereby they are talking of bringing the senior governors, the senior governors in place, the regional governors. So these are they are looking at now. We want to finish this term. Now, where are we going to be blessed after this?
Okay.
So when we talk of the political system in 2022, and then when Uhuru talked of, don't think that Mount Kenya has no kingpin or what, we are there. In other words, no, she has always portrayed herself as a kingpin in making for the Mount Kenya region.
And she equally said that, to just pause you, because I need to pick a phone call here from Benedict calling us from Donholm in Nairobi County. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, are you?
Morning to you, Benedict. Habari asubuhi.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, bana.
Salamia watu wote kwa panel na waambia Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So I have two options. I have two opinions that I want to give you guys.
Do so briefly.
Number one, ukipea mwendazimu suti avae, ataonekana vizuri lakini bado yeye ni mwendazimu. We are forgetting the government wanatuletea new constitution yenye inaitwa BBI.
Okay.
Let's not lie to ourselves. We are Kenyans. Do you know vile ODM ilianza?
Yes, it was as the result of the 2005 referendum.
Exactly. Na ndio maana hiyo neno orange ilitoka. So Victor ache kutudanganya ati ya kwamba BBI is not about 2022 politics. And that's why William Ruto is complaining, because BBI inakuja na mazuri na yeye atakuwa left. Sasa atakuwa na kitu ya kusell by 2022. But Raila Amolo Odinga will have something to tell us on 2022 politics.
Okay.
So why I'm saying ukivalisha mwendazimu suti ataonekana mzuri na baada atabaki mwendazimu. The mwendazimu here is the government.
Okay.
Watavaa suti watudanganye ni wazuri, but kia come by this year tutalia unemployment, By 2022 bado tutalia unemployment because wanakuja na method ya to brainwash. By the end of the day, even the DBI, it's about them. It is not about us. Yes, it's on paper. Like now, the same government is wanadharau tu hivi. Na ukiangalia vile siasa za Kenya zinaenda, by the end of the day, it's so dangerous.
Okay.
Because unapata, they are only thinking about themselves.
All right.
We youth of this country sit down and say, Omera, no. What can we do to change our lives?
Okay, thank you so much, Benedict. Asante sana, thank you. Victor will respond to that, but let me just get to the cartoon edition of the Star newspaper. Madam Director, can we have that on air? It will be on our screen shortly. I think we have that. Yes, there we go. It's a depiction of a former firm handshake between the president and the DP, William Ruto. Now Kenyatta is handing over the wedding ring to the DP, William Ruto, a sign that the marriage is over politically. And let me come to Fred here, because this is what the ODM party has continuously said, and yesterday in the press and parliament emphasized, re-emphasized, and said that the DP should face the president head-on. Is it the end of the political marriage, and could this be effected before 2022 when Kenyatta leaves the scene?
Okay, well, whether in person Ruto and Uhuru have their differences, that's a bedroom matter I will not get into. But as to whether Jubilee as a party still exists as the Jubilee that came into power in 2013, in 2017, it is obvious for any eye to say that that's not the case. If you look at the salvos that the deputy president keeps sending towards the president, albeit through ODM or through Raila Odinga, but the messaging is clear for anybody who can decode that he has always been talking about the president, and he's been hitting very hard on him. If you look at what he said over the weekend and how he handled himself, he was actually directing all the missiles at the president. And if were it not for the Constitution 2010, which he vehemently opposed, he will not have a job right now.
He will be an appointee.
He would have been an appointee who would have been sacked by now.
Okay.
So the political marriage, which was known as Jubilee, I think is no longer in place. And it's only a matter of when, not if, they will separate.
Yes, sir.
Jubilee, as I've already said, it could have been better if it could have remained the way it was. Remember,
that's Ruto, what they planned.
And remember, Ruto laughed at us when we were coming up with NASA. They really pushed for us for the parties to dissolve and just form one party. But for us, we had our own idea and our own way of making things. So whatever is happening is something that was expected, something that we envisioned that will be there, because since their relationship in 2012-2013, we all knew they won't go anywhere. Because one, whatever brought them together was the ICC thing. Then when the ICC thing came to an end, remember, the first case to be dropped was for the president. Then the people were, why is it that the president, the people in the same party, in the same Jubilee, why is it that the president case has been dropped and the deputy president case has not been dropped?
Okay.
Why is it that he cannot fight for the deputy president? And they were together. So those questions were there. And these people, nobody addressed those issues. So the Jubilee started crumbling from there. When the case of the president was dropped, and his was later dropped after a while. Now, that's why I said, when you come to elections in March, they won't happen because of such a things. The rift will widen. And there'll be so much issues that even the president and the deputy himself won't be able to address.
Okay.
And to have unity, they rather stay the way they are than go to elections, because there's a team of the deputy president and the team of the Uhuru,
yes,
who want to take over and have the full control of the party, something that cannot be allowed within the political system. So that is what is also ailing the deputy president himself.
Okay, final words from Victor.
One, I want to make 3 points. Number one, on that cartoon edition.
Yes, handing over the ring.
Handing over the ring. Now, when I saw the two join together in 2012 towards 2013, I remembered how we used to get into street fights when we were very young.
That was in Afraha in Nakuru.
Yeah, and we were very young. We used to get involved in street fights. And in those days when Moi was still powerful and in charge, his chiefs were also very much in charge. So you remember the chief, the youths for the chief. Then they find me and Cyrus in a serious street fight. You know what you'll do? You come together and say, no, we were not fighting. We were just playing here. Yeah. Then after they go, you become enemies again. That was the romance between the president and his deputy. These are guys who came together, and when ICC came for all their heads, they said, no. We are very much together, and we are very good friends. We are not fighting. I think we are very good friends here. Then ICC has gone, and it has since left them. They have now gone back to where they were. That is one. That is my case one.
Yes, okay.
Now on case two, and is trying to say something that about the elections of the Jubilee. It's just a matter of time. I really doubt if October will come when the two will be together. I'm giving it up to October. Because under the Jubilee Party elections will be the test of whether these guys are still going to be together or not. Two things are going to happen.
Okay.
Either Ruto will take control of that party fully, or he will leave if he realizes that he can't take over that party. So those two scenarios will happen. Jubilee Party would remain when he successfully takes over the elections and does his things the way he wants them done. Then there will be a party called Jubilee. If he so realizes that he won't do that, he will leave that party. So those two scenarios are going to happen, and I give it a timeline of maybe up to October. Then we'll see what will happen. Now, my third and last point is the noise that is going around the country that BBI is not good for the people of Kenya. And my friend has said that we are hiding behind the BBI. We want to talk about 2022. Benedict, I want to assure you that the BBI process is a consultative process, and we are in talking with the people of Kenya. If the people of Kenya want Raila Odinga to lead in 2022, he has no option but to lead the people of Kenya. But for now, we are in a process of building bridges. And the president seems so bitter in his Twitter handles about how the matters of BBI are being handled, and at the same time claims that
the president has no Twitter account so far.
The president has a Twitter account, State House.
It's State House, yes,
Yeah.
which quotes him.
Yes.
But his Twitter accounts personally was
but he speaks. You know, the president said something.
The
The president said something someday that he has his mouth, and then when he wants to speak, he'll always speak.
Okay.
So when he's quoted, and Kanzedena is very keen, when he quotes the president, there are those quotes, and we know that this is the president now speaking. But quite often we've seen a president who has changed nowadays, and he speaks openly when he wants to speak, and I'm sure very soon he'll speak on the state of the affairs.
Well, I think then there seems to be the point to which the president hasn't been paying enough attention, or lack of it thereof, in regards to the ruling Jubilee Party, the unity, and equally the restive central Kenya region, which is his political backyard. We'll come back and still continue the discussion on whether this is perhaps the political aspect, how to prevent it from hijacking, and in regard to that, or in effect to that, why the ODM members of parliament want the DP William Ruto to resign in that press they joined yesterday issue in parliament buildings yesterday, of course, led by Maina Kamanda, Junet Mohammed, Peter Kaluma, and the other members of parliament from the ODM party and the ruling Jubilee Party. The number is 0791 478 990. The hashtag on Twitter is NewDayK. The short SMS code is 40920. Stay tuned. We are coming back after the short break here on the program.
All right, and what is on the roads? I know we had gone through this before, but then again, the updates that are coming on board, and I think it's important that we update you in regards to the same. What Ayub had taken us through, and now to what is coming in. What is it? I think it's a Miguna challenge. This is pretty much interesting. At a Miguna challenge, sicheki peke yangu nikiwa kwa traffic. Yes, this is the feel. Sometimes when you're in traffic and it's pretty much bad, it's good just to entertain yourself. Chef, unaona huyo Miguna huyo mwingine. The challenge is on. And yes, we cross over to a different one right here. Actually, Thika Road is a mess, as you can see clearly. This is what Beryl Oduor is telling us. And a whole different thing. Let's cross over to a different tweet. When will we start obeying traffic rules? That should be the question. Lane discipline, speed, respect for other motorists, and being sane. Hii kuharakisha iko hapo Eastern Bypass ni ya kuua mtu tu actually. Yeah, that's pretty much something that we should be cautious about when we're using the roads. And what's happening at Eastern Bypass, watu walikula pesa, now Kenyans have to pay. But then here you go, as you can see, it's pretty much bad. Zimeshikana kushikana from of course, Eustace Tosh is the one who's telling us that. And but isn't the problem us drivers who slow down to pick the free copies? I think in regards to the newspapers that are normally given every other morning. Here's down the line, Kasarani Mwiki Road needs another rehabilitation. Kura, that is at Mike Sonko, engage a worthy contractor. Then I bet we won't experience such a mess. You all witnessed what happened yesterday. It was terrible, Mwiki and we had all these road users on a strike. Most of the people had to commute all the way to the places that they were headed to. I hope this is going to be addressed after that particular move. And traffic situation at Kiambu Road, Kushikana is pretty much a little bit tight. And it's a little bit, more of a cold morning. And the police officer at the junction of Gitanga Road, James Gishuru, needs help. It's hard to manage traffic from all sides. That's some section suffering. There you go. And of course, it's pretty much sad also on this other side of the road. It has taken me a whole 1 hour, 20 minutes to town. Gong Road this morning is a total mess. And Eastern Bypass, a mess from Benedict Magunas. And traffic nightmare, James Gishuru is a parking lot that is just about 17 minutes ago. And as you can see, yes, is indeed a parking lot. Traffic nightmare, James Gishuru, still, of course, complaints coming in regards to the same. But a mess like always from Kiambu roundabout to Pangani. That is, of course, when you're going to Thika Road. The outer ring road bike lanes are upsetting. They are in a deplorable condition, full of debris, mostly unmarked, incompetent and unmaintained, or incomplete and unmaintained, encroached, lack in connectivity and completely unusable, as you can see right there. But it looks like that road also is not as bad in terms of traffic. It is flowing pretty much well. And in Kawangware, both Naivasha Road and Gitanga Road are in a sorry state. I have never heard the governor mention about this part of Nairobi. Sewerage line is a mess, no pedestrian paths at all. Kindly, Waishimiwa, intervene. And I think we had seen the demonstrations that were conducted in regards to ensuring that at least we have some sanity on that very road also. And Langata Road, surely, it looks like it's terrible down there. Baby Ngatas, and there you can see a photo of the same. I just knew Thika Road has to have some stupid traffic. Well, that is according to Joanne Meli. And a couple of other roads right here. Someone just called me. But, these insults that you hurl at each other when we're on traffic jam, I think is pretty much, barbaric and old school. My dad's life was threatened by funny-looking guys with threads of helping stranded commuters and school-going kids at steamer, personal vehicles, beware. So much so happening on the roads. We'll update you in the event that anything else happens. But yes, like as you can see, that is technically what we can give you as now. And I think it's important that we cross over to Ayub, who's still on standby with the conversation ongoing. Ayub, if you can hear me, then you can kick it off, of course, or you can proceed with the conversation of the day. And I'll take you to one of the stories right here in regards to the NHIF saga that is still ongoing right here, and the rules that have come on board. And now Court to once new NHIF rules deferred at once. And Ayub, to you.
And thank you. Before we take the sentiments of the ABO panel here, on set with regards to the NHIF new rules that took effect on the first day of January 2020. We first of all finish up on the discussion earlier on the round table. And this is a bite from a presser yesterday issued in Parliament. And this is the Muranga woman rep, Sabina Chege, speaking.
How do you talk about democracy and you're not comfortable when other people meet? Is it fair that you are the only ones who are supposed to meet? So when other people meet, then you start asking questions.
If I may come to you, Fred, this is a concern that is expressed by the woman rep who was once a darling to the Deputy President William Ruto politically, and she seems now sitting on the periphery and is faulting the DP of lacking the democratic culture to tolerate others when they meet and do or go about their other businesses. I mean, does it look like the DP William Ruto's enemy is anyone who doesn't behave, look, or perhaps speak like him?
Exactly. I think she has captured it. Because if you look at the trend that is happening, the deputy president started campaigning in 2017 for 2022, fully. He will go to rallies and marshal people to talk about it. But when other groups of people just come together and to brainstorm and come up with issues, you'll always hear him and his team faulting those kind of meetings. It is those kind of faulting of people that gave rise to the assassination letter, because there is a group of central members who would meet somewhere in a hotel, La Kila. Then they managed to kill those meetings by a mere allegation and such kind of thing. So I think I would really want to urge our very able deputy president to actually practice what he preaches, to allow other people to also exercise their democratic right of association, and allow other people to also come together, like-minded people to come together, so that people can not only be seen to oppose him when other people have different ideas and ideologies from what he himself subscribes to.
Cyrus Leto, if I may come to you, when you look at the history, when we pedal back in history, I mean, you look at the jinx here with regards to breaking the culture of the vice presidency, because the DP William Ruto is a deputy president. He's not an appointee, he's an elected deputy president alongside the president. In regards to his ambitious 2022 presidential quest that is said to be happening in about 2.5 years' time, analysts are poking holes into his style, I mean, testing the political gods in the country, disobeying the orders of his boss, the president. To give him a benefit of doubt, can he end the vice presidency or the deputy presidency who do, and perhaps be the man at the helm in 2022?
If Ruto wants to be in the helm in 2022, I believe what he could have done, because he's part of the presidency, they could have worked together with the president, wait for a time like 2021, okay, and start his plan. But because
what do you think informs these early campaigns then? Why all the insecurity?
The insecurity is because of the fears that he has that, one, he wants to prove to Uhuru, I'm still that guy who we've worked together, and I'm still here, we can still work with you, and the people I'm working with are still your people, and your interests are catered for. So other fears are, Uhuru might decide not to support him. And if he decides not to support him, then he better galvanize his own support so that he can have something to ride on. Unlike to have Uhuru to support him. Even I remember him saying one time that I don't need Uhuru to come and support me. I can do this myself. I can work it out myself. So I don't need Uhuru to come and support me. I don't want to burden him, and those are the soft word he used. But in other words, he has realized it, that Uhuru cannot come and support him as it is. So what he's just trying to do is forcing himself or selling himself to the people so that he can have that grip, or he can have that support that he's looking at, which is also coming up as a challenge. Because when you see somebody like Sabina Chege from Muranga, also who changed her tune from supporting Ruto to supporting the Embrace team and the BBI, then it becomes a challenge. Then you need to question yourself, that if my supporter has dropped, now where am I going? Because even the senator who was also a very strong and fierce supporter of him has also had a cold feet. So you don't know where the senator is, the Irungu Kangata. You don't know where he is.
Okay.
So Muranga itself is also a battle zone. He only has Alice Wahome and Ndindi Nyoro so far, who are strongly supporting him. So it's something that he needs to look at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or perhaps, Victor, a possibility that he needs to look back into the political books and consider some of his tact in terms of his political machinations and engineering a plan to which he wants to become the commander-in-chief in 2022. Does it perhaps remain a priority for him to galvanize, first of all, the party, which seems to be not in proper shape at the moment and might even be disintegrated by the March expected elections in 2020?
On political strategy, Ruto is right. He ought not to have been supporting Uhuru right now, and that is what he's working on. You know, Jubilee has a burden, I can tell you. The presidency of Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto has had a burden on the people of Kenya that he needs to delink from that yoke of poverty that that government has put on the people of Kenya if he has to go anywhere politically. You know, this is the government that has over-borrowed in a way that this country has never borrowed, and he is the deputy president. This is the government that has looted the public resources and plundered them to the end that I almost thought this country was going into an economic crisis. This is the government that has disobeyed court orders to almost 20 of them. So this government has a burden, has more burden on him than it can have some good on him. So on political strategy, he is right to delink. The only thing I don't understand is why is he delinking while fighting? But then he is right. You know, right now he's changed tune to our government is a government that respects court orders. And if you don't respect court orders, then you are not part of us. His government and Uhuru Kenyatta are the same government who deported Miguna against the court orders of producing in court.
Rejected to open the servers.
And rejected opening of servers. When they banned, you remember the cars that were banned by the president in Mombasa?
Yes.
A court order to that effect did not want them banned. So
that was
the drugs issue, yes. Yeah, the court order even refused those ones. So this is a government that has disobeyed very many court orders. It has a burden on him. So he is really doing well to delink so that he can come and hoodwink Kenyans again. But then on his fight with the president, he is wrong. But on political strategy, yes, he got it. But he set it on a wrong foot, but he got the strategy.
Okay, gentlemen, let's now towards the last 19 minutes of the program here turn our attention to equally another concern for Kenyans. This pertains, of course, the NHIF, the National Hospital Insurance Fund, that effected new regulations on the 1st of January 2020. This means you'll be paying up double thrice. That is 1,500 if you are voluntary, paying 500 Kenya shillings a month. Then 50% of that, which is 750 shillings, amounts to 2,250. Again, that is paid for 12 extra months, which is about 6,000 Kenya shillings. The total comes to about 8,250 shillings. Fred, if I may come to you, this is healthcare, and healthcare is one of the items in the president's Big Four agenda. Does it look like perhaps one that will come into dent or in a way delay the president's Big Four agenda, because the others equally are in court or facing some other legal hurdles, including the housing levy, which is far beyond the needed mathematical speed here in terms of the delivery. We have this one coming when Kenyans are economically at the end or at the edge. We have the Galana Kulalo project, food security, that the company pulled out citing government frustrations of the 10% kickbacks, and then the other item on manufacturing. Because of the cost of production, the electricity in the country, the tax seem to be causing some form of capital flight from the market, and Kenya no longer is haven for destination for investors coming into the country because of the investor confidence and the lack of it thereof. Is it achievable, realistic, going by the timeline?
Most of the Jubilee promises we came to believe will never be realized. And it becomes a burden to anybody who thinks that any of those promises is going to be achieved. So to save yourself from the stress, just know that none of those is ever going to be achieved. The Big Four is a big fox, never be achieved. The food security, I don't know, Galana Kulalu and whatever it is, will never be achieved. The universal health care that they allied to us will never be achieved. Now, if you look at this, the new regulations that came through the NHIF that is supposed to offer the ordinary mwananchi a relief when it comes to health matters, then it informs you a lot. First of all, I saw one Gladys Sholei, who is a chair to, yes, and she's a parliamentary chair for health. crying foul and coming to national television telling us that she's disappointed to be a member of Jubilee Party because of such kind of regulations. And you sit down and wonder, did she just land from the moon and realize that everything is going haywire in this country? They have been part of the problem. Now, when somebody somewhere sat in a boardroom and thought of coming up with such kind of punitive rules and regulations, that is definitely going to hurt the common mwananchi and even people of means who have small means, because the little that you have is being carved into every day by this rogue government. Then you realize that if there is anyone who has come in this nation who wants to disintegrate this Jubilee, as they have always said that is what Raila wants to do, then that person should be given an accolade. That person should be encouraged to disintegrate this Jubilee so that this government goes home, and if it can go home today, the better. Because we cannot live in a country where you promise the common mwananchi that you are going to deliver on the basics. Then instead of delivering the basics, you overburden the people. And then you have no even remorse about it, you see. So I think these regulations and whoever came up with them must be fought in court and using any other necessary legal channel that is available.
Okay, Cyrus Litsoa.
Yes.
A lot was promised in 2013. 850,000 jobs never realized. In the election bid or the pledge, 1 million jobs never realized. The economy not growing as per the expected speed. There are warnings from the global financial institution, the World Bank, the IMF, about our fiscal hygiene, the way we are conducting ourselves. Corruption is rife, and nearly 85% of what they have pledged was never realized or implemented. What's the point of the presidents now coming up with a Big Four agenda, knowing the political terrain in the country and the frustrations?
And I've always said, Uhuru is a good person when it comes to PR. Giving very beautiful statements that are copy-pasted.
He cannot match Ruto.
And it's all about the presidency at the end of the day. Uhuru and Ruto are the same. No one is a saint at the moment. Because, one, when they came in 2013, they told us they'd give us studies, which up to now they've never given us. They came 2017, they repeated the same.
They added more.
They added more.
Yeah.
There will be 9.
Uhuru was there.
Instead of 6, he said
He
9.
he never contradicted. Was there with his deputy when the deputy was.
He was shocked.
He was raising all those.
He was
listing them, and Uhuru was there. No, it's not. I cannot say at the moment he was shocked. No.
I'll show you the video.
I've always seen the video and I have it. Let us not say that he was shocked, because
studied the body language. The president was
shocked. You see,
once the study about 1 million.
You see, this is a person you are in the government. You are promising people things that you cannot deliver. First, you never delivered what you promised them. Now you are adding to that and then to make it worse, you are bringing the Big Four agendas. The Big Four agenda, the food security. We are talking about the health, talking about the housing, and manufacturing. All this, when talking about manufacturing, factories and industrialization in the country has gone down. Nothing is rising up. Factories are closing. There's no innovation that is being embraced. Electricity, nothing is being realized. It's all about the PR stunt. Now, when you come and tell us that all these things are going to be realized, no. Look at the NHIF thing. When you tell us that when you fail to pay for 12 months, okay, you are going to be a defaulter and asked to pay the whole amount, okay, and start enjoying the benefits after 3 years. This is a punishment to Kenyans. Then you are being told it's not 10 children, okay, but 5 children.
Okay.
What about a man who has 20 children? Where are these people going to go? And this is the sole breadwinner of the family.
There is a concern with regards to especially the polygamous families, but here is a call from probably a concerned Kenyan Madhi, who is calling us from Kapsaret, that is in one of the constituents. Good morning, good morning, Madhi.
Hello, good morning.
Morning to you. Habari asubuhi.
Mzuri sana.
Yes, tuongeleshe tafadhali.
Ya habari ya Mwagambia.
Wazima wote. Happy New Year.
Yeah, New Year to you.
Okay.
I want to contribute to the debate.
Okay, go ahead please.
Nataka ni waulize hawa jamaa habari ya BBI.
Okay.
Wanasema ni wanatengeneza maneno ya kurekebisha katiba. Ili jana niliona kwa mainstream.
Yes.
Registrar ya political parties. Akiongea anasema she has been approached 11 times. Hiyo kitu registered like political party.
Okay.
So nimeshangaa watu wakiongea wanafikiria watu hapa panishinani hawaelewi kitu gani inaendelea. So let them know that sisi ndio tunaumia, sio hawa.
Okay.
Watutengenezee kitu ambaye inatusaidia, si ati kwa manufaa yao wenyewe.
Okay.
Sasa nikienda kwa upande ya Western na vile wana vote, nataka niambie huyu jamaa wako hapo katikati, that young man, watu wa Western they are democratic. that is why they are just voting on different
along different lines.
Hawafuati mtu, yani hao wenyewe ndio wanatumia vile wanaona. So mimi nataka kuwapongeza watu wa Western na wengine.
Alright.
Nikikuja kwa Luwa Nyanza, hawa ndio watu ambaye naona kwa kidogo wamekuwa under captivity. Kwa sababu wanafuata mtu mmoja. Imagine hata kwa wakati wa election, it was in the second election.
Yes.
It was the only place ambaye walikataa kabisa kuvote, which means hawa hakuna kitu ambaye wanafikiria ni wanafuata nini maneno ya mtu mmoja.
Okay.
Kwa sababu upande wa Migori it is cosmopolitan, na uliona hata president alipata votes huko, na upande wa nini Migori na upande wa Moroni. Lakini where it is pure Luwa Nyanza, unakuta president anapata 1 vote na Raila alipata huko central 50,000 votes. So the Luwa Nyanza, they should emulate other tribes in voting on their own yani understanding, si ati kufuata mtu. Otherwise mimi napongeza April.
Okay.
You are interview every now and then, it is always standardized, and wale ambao wanakuchanga hapo mnaelekeza kwa njia mzuri. Asante sana, mbarikiwe.
Thank you so much, Matthew Kongoi, who is calling us from the Rift Valley. Asante sana. Okay, thank you so much. Asante. And that was of course his contribution towards the BBI, and is concerned about talking about the repeat poll on the 26th, the 4 boycotting counties in Nyanza region. Yes, we are finishing up with the NHIF. I'll come and give the final words to Victor.
So on the NHIF also, I believe they should not just come up with the regulations without observing the constitution. Remember, the president the other day signed a bill or a law that men can marry to 4 wives.
Well, polygamy is a right, isn't it?
Yes. Now, when you come and tell us, that for NHIF, one is entitled for 1 wife.
Yes.
What about for a man who has other 4 wives? Where are the 3 go? Who will cater for them? So these are some of the things that we need to look into. It does not just punish people for the sake of punishing them, for the sake of benefiting a few.
Yes.
And also the contributions should be there to serve the Kenyans. This is not an insurance company.
Yes.
This is a national health insurance fund.
Okay.
Whereby it has to serve the Kenyans, not individuals.
Okay, Mulamenation and pastoralist communities are concerned. You know,
Silas has spoken like a typical lawyer.
He has intentions of having more than one.
But back to the main issue.
Yes.
I really think NHIF is not interested in Kenyans anymore.
At all.
And sometime back here, I said it that I think subscription to NHIF should be made voluntary. I really think people need not to be forced to pay this thing if they're not willing to take care of Kenyans. There are good insurance companies who take care of health issues, and when you have problems, you meet them at your doorstep instantly. And you know, Kenyans are not having a problem with payment. That one I can confidently tell you. You know, they have been deducting this money and we don't even know where they take it. And we are comfortable. But when they want to put restraint to what they deduct, they want to tell us now how many people can be included in a card. You know, you can't bar a man from doing what God legally allowed them to do. Go into the world and produce and multiply. Those were the words to man. You know, I really don't know what was told to the woman in the Bible. But to man in the Bible, you were told, go ye multiply. So, and by multiplying, you know, the Kenyan law allows you to marry as many wives as you want. In the Muslim faith, you are allowed to marry up to 4.
4, yes.
So, you know, I really don't know who are at NHIF who make rules. And when they make these rules, are they making them in the moon? Because typically the common Kenyan ratio of a house is 5. And when it sits at 5, it means half of Kenyans fall above 5 and half fall below 5. Yes. So where are they taking all the others? And Atuoli is estimating over 10 million workers who will be affected. Yeah. That is not a small population.
Yes.
A very big population.
Looking into account that we are 40 million. And he's talking about working population. So look at 10 million workers affected.
That's
then
minus
multiply
the beneficiaries.
Minus the beneficiaries. Then multiply by an average of 5. Surely the whole population is affected.
That's almost half of, of the population.
So really NHIF must consider these rules. And if NHIF has to stick by what they're saying,
yes,
then I'll be joining a team that will petition the government to ensure that NHIF is a voluntary service in this country. Yes. Let anyone who is willing to pay it, and if you are not willing to pay it, don't pay it. Get another health insurance that will be favorable to you.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you. That's where we end.
But before we end,
10 seconds.
Yes, there's a concern we had, I think, Marenda and I, when we raised about industrialization. The economy of this country, for it to grow, we need to empower the youth. We need to have new ideas on industrialization. A factory in Webuye West that cost 100 million for it to be constructed has no electricity. It was opened. It is not running. So what are we talking about when we are talking about when you come and say we are improving our economy, we are doing this, we are creating job opportunities, and yet the companies and factories that we need to have are no longer there. So these are some of the things that we need to look into, and those are some of the things that I pray that we should focus so much when it comes to the BBI thing.
Ayuba, I think next week, please organize so that we speak about industrialization in this
country. Which is very key, and the economy, because it speaks a lot.
All these companies are going, you know, we have no sugar.
Kenya Power is the problem.
We have no sugar industry in the country. We have nothing.
Gentlemen, thank you. Fred, Cyrus, and Victor, I do appreciate your time. Asante sana for coming, and thank you. That's where we end. We'll see hopefully next week, Saturday. Of course, we're keeping an eye closely on what will be transpiring at the Bukhungu studio. You'll be there?
Of course, I'll be there.
Victor? And Linda is standing by on the other end of the screen. Here is where we come to an end. It's on a concern note. She comes from Western Kenya, therefore is concerned about the NHIF.
I'll also be in attendance.
So this is a concern to Waingo?
Yes, this is a big concern to me for sure. I would have loved to have an extensive discussion in regards to them, but then we cross fingers that this is going to be rested before it gets out of hand.
And equally, it's a concern for Kenyans who are, of course, members of the NHIF, that is the National Hospital Insurance Fund, and it's on this note we come to an end here on the program. Thank you for joining us this Tuesday morning. I'm Ayub Abdikadir Abdi.
And my name is Linda Alela. Of course, in about 1 hour's time,
Winnie
as I would
will be
rightfully
here
put it,
with my
my
doctor. Stay tuned. Good morning.